How was that for an intro? I really like using some of the more cinematic moments of the game just to kind of get the vibe down, get us in the right state of mind, the right mood for some of these areas. This area is very creepy. How we doing, guys? We're doing Bottom of the Well and the Ice Cavern. I figured I'd go ahead and put these two together. Neither one is necessarily very long, and they're both kind of outliers, because neither one is a fully fledged temple per se. They're just kind of side areas we got to go to get some mandatory items that we're going to need to finish the game. Well, one mandatory item for sure, another mandatory item depending on who you talk to. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I meant the iron boots and the lens of truth, respectively, but I think for some, even the iron boots are optional. I'm not one of those people, however. Anyway, let's drain more water out of this well. There's not a whole lot left now. There are so many enemies in this area. This giant green bubble, Skulltula just came at us from the ceiling. There's a like in this hallway. There's floor masters and wall masters, I think. There's Gibdo. There's Keese. There's Redead. We're going to pass all of them. None of them. We don't need to interact with 90% of this area. It was always really weird to me that such was the case. But literally, you don't have to mess with hardly anything in this temple. Well, there again, if you'd even call it a temple. We're just going to walk in this door and fight the only enemy in this area that we need to defeat, the Dead Hand. So good news. We have another area that joins the, I almost said the forest temple, that joins the Deku Tree, and only requiring us to kill one enemy. And surprisingly, it's kind of a late game area. Suppose that theoretically, the earliest you could do this is after going forward in time. Well, no, you know what? You have to beat the Forest Temple, actually. I was going to say before the Forest Temple, but you would have to beat the Forest Temple. Otherwise, Sheik will not let you put the Master Sword back away. So it is a rather late game area that's requiring very little of us. Not a lot to speak of with the Dead Hand, aside from the fact that it's absolutely terrifying, and now it's a legitimately dead hand. Legitimately, though, my god. What an enemy, right? I mean, I can't say anything that hasn't been said all over the internet about that thing already. And the treasure protects the Lens of Truth, which is a little bit ironic. We'll get to that later when we get to the Shadow Temple. But the lens can actually play a role in defeating the other Dead Hand that we're going to have to encounter later. We will get there. That time is not now. Only left this in to say thank you, Zelda Randomizer, for teaching me where literally all of the chests are. Forward to the Temple of Time, and forward still to the Ice Cavern. And, unfortunately, that also means walking down Zora's River. Why are we walking down Zora's River, or at least why am I showing me walking down Zora's River? There's Octoroks. I'm theoretically a different size. Does that change anything? The answer is no, but I'm going to show it just to clarify, just so there's no question. It's funny too to me how many areas have less enemies than they did in their child past forms. That being said, I don't think there were Octorok in that part of the river, were there? So maybe I'm a little bit off on saying that. But it's funny to me that in this case, the blue Tektites are gone. Mind you, maybe replacing more Octoroks. But the Stall Children are gone. The skeletons are gone. Replaced with Poes, but the Poes are very... You almost have to go out of your way to run into any of them. And even then, it's not like they're hard to deal with. Not the Stall Children are either. But at least they're infinitely spawning. The Poes, you get rid of it and it's gone. Forever. Until you find it again. And fortunately, I've rambled on enough that we're here. Zora's Fountain. Did they ever say where Lord Jabu Jabu went? I don't think they ever said where in the world that giant metal fish went. God has abandoned us. What do we do? As you see, I'm rocking the Goron tunic still. I just figured, change of pace, you know. We've been wearing green the whole time. We can wear red for a little bit. Thankfully, we will be wearing blue shortly. Big blue fan over here. Both the soda and the color. More so the color, but that reminded me of the soda. And one room in, and we're gonna start massacring things, you know. Funny thing about these guys, one, their name is Freezards. Two, if you mash too quickly, you get frozen again. You actually, I mean, I guess you'll take extra damage, but I guess you're gonna take that damage anyway. Also, don't know what happened with that last one. Not the one that disappeared, the one before that. We traded, somehow. A lingering hit from that spin attack. And first 4 enemies that we encounter have been slain. Well, that's a good track record. We're gonna roll by that one and into this area. We skip by the room with the giant spinning ice blade. Also, speaking of ice, here's a funny thing about ice keys. You block them with the shield, and they retain their elemental properties. That's very odd, and I don't like it because I don't like ice keys. Despite them being blue. There's a theme here. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and equip all 3 of our bottles. I always get paranoid about the blue fire because I want to say there was a time that I somehow used the blue fire and it did not thaw. You know what I mean. It did not work on King Zora. I don't know why, and I don't think it's ever happened again since. But I always hated this area as a kid. It's not so bad now to me, but I hated coming in here as a kid. It was so dull. It felt forced, I guess, in a way, because it broke you up of, you know, if you do things in the intended sequence, it kind of breaks you up into the temples and everything. So I hated coming in here. So when I brought that bottle of fire to King Zora, and the game just for whatever reason said, no, go do it again, that's enough right there to say, never again. I will forever have a bunch of bottles on me. As many as I can have if I'm not mistaken. Well, I guess technically I could have went out Poe hunting, but I don't like doing that either. Yeah, I said never again. We will forevermore have a lot of blue fire on us at all times, just in case. And yes, there is a refill right here. Which, well, not right here, but in this room, which I'm pretty sure we're going to refill all of our bottles of blue fire. To me, this is one of those gimmicks that I don't know that they needed to do, because they don't really, it's not like they utilize it frequently. It's used in this area, and then not until Ganon's Castle, if I'm not mistaken. So, you barely used it. Oh look, I got the ice off of them. There we go. Deku Nuts. Who knew Deku Nuts were so useful, right? Because God knows I didn't use them as, I mean, tell me, did you ever use Deku Nuts a whole lot? Like, outside of the Deku Tree and the beginning areas? Because I never did until challenges like these. Turns out they're pretty useful, though. They still retain their icy functions, though. I don't know what happened there, but I'll take it. I didn't get frozen. They still retain their elemental property, it looks like, when they come out of their stun, but still, it at least allows me to get by them. And yes, refill the bottles. Forevermore. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I end this series with a bottle of blue fire from this area, more than likely. But you know what? Better safe than sorry. And by the time Zelda sends us 7 years in the past, it'll be gone anyway, so, you know, it's fine. And here's me trying to avoid the sliding puzzle, even though I should know, you gotta do it. It has to be done. I haven't done it the proper way in forever, because this is actually, well, not this, but you can finagle this a little bit to where you can make the jump, even though you're not supposed to yet. Like many things in a 64-era game, if you know what you're doing, you can kind of cheese it. And obviously I've interacted with these keys. What in the world was that? I don't know about you, but I've never seen a Keese pull an almost legitimate U-turn like out of Star Fox. Guys, this is the R-Wings again. Either way, that thing was out for blood. But Lord knows I interact with those keys often enough that you can see why I left that in. Thankfully, for some reason, this mystical blue fire that clearly has very special properties to put out this super tough red ice doesn't do anything to the basic enemies that are made of regular, like, bluish ice. Speaking of things that are inferior despite looking different in the game, White Wolfos. It's dead. Yay. Thanks for doing nothing more but adding to my kill count. That being said, that's it for this video. Again, very short. The well and the ice cavern, they're not very long. Short and sweet, can't be beat. We get the Zora Tunic. We're going to open what I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to, the Water Temple. And we'll be tackling that next time. After that, Shadow Temple, Gerudo's Fortress, and the Spirit Temple. I will see you guys in the Water Temple next time.